Hello, hello. Welcome to the channel. Give me 1 second to get this all set up. There's a lot to do, a lot to cover. Is this the one I want? Um, that's not it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this link. I want to get the link for this so that we can share it and more people can join. Well, let me figure out what's going on here. View my channel. All right. Let's get in here. Actually, I don't even need that. What am I doing? Just got to grab this. So what is this all about? Send now. So as some of you may know, I have a course coming up. And I thought it'd be cool to kind of take some time to explain that course and explain a little bit of the character that we'll be using for that course. It's actually a really cool character. For some reason, not for some reason, if you have a character that's really limited, like super simple shapes, things that are easy to animate, they're so much fun because you don't have to worry about as much stuff. And I don't know why I keep trying to get into this. So I had ended up creating a character that's basically just an acorn with some legs and arms and a face right on the body. And funny enough, it was my son who came up with the concept of this acorn character, and I sketched it out. So he was kind of the inspiration for this, and it ended up being my logo for Backwoods Animation. Aside from that, let's talk about the course. So the course is going to be live streamed. Now, everybody will not have access to this course. The only way you can actually view the course is if you're a member of, or you're signed up for the course through OK Animate. Then you'll be getting a link to that course, our weekly course, which is from 9 to 11 Mountain Daylight Time, where I'm at. And let's see. So it says not showing yet. I wonder, how do you share this thing? I thought it was just straight up from here. All right, I'm going to try to share this link with some other people. So let me let's see if this is it. Is this the one I want? Well, that's the same link. And why am I in studio? Anyway, what do we got? Hi guys, thanks for joining in on the chat. Thanks for viewing in. Let's see. How do you become a pro motion designer and what tools to learn? Character rigging, commercial motion design. Please give me a full roadmap. Well, it depends on what kind of animation that you want to kind of like gear your career towards. If you want to be a character animator, tools that you would need would be either like Harmony, Toon Boom Harmony, or what I like to use is Moho. Moho is kind of like my go-to now. It's my favorite program. One, because it's affordable. Two, because the tools that they have are impeccable. I mean, it's like, as an animator, they've built it for animators, and it is just, there's a learning curve involved, but in my opinion, that learning curve is a lot more gentle than Toon Boom, which is like an industry standard. So if you want to be a rigger and animator, I'd say go with Moho. Moho's kind of the complete package. Now, where Moho kind of lags in, and to like, no points deducted for this because they're not a motion graphics program, they're a character animation program. They're not very great at motion graphics, so like motion design. You can do it, but I would say After Effects is probably your best bet if you want to be a motion designer. So After Effects has the most beneficial tools in doing really cool effects, really cool movements to get really great motion design. So if you're going to be a motion designer, go to After Effects. If you're going to be a character animator, go to Moho. And if you want to be like a 2D drawer, so somebody who draws and sketches out and they do all of their artwork 2D, programs like Procreate or even Adobe Animate is really great. So it's really up to you. And as far as like which job is the best, I mean, character animation, come on, it's the best. But if you want to get more work, I'd say be a motion designer. Companies seem to be a lot more forgiving in that field. They need motion graphics for a lot of things within their company. So if you want to be more versatile, maybe go the motion graphics route. But again, it's really just, it depends on the taste of the client. You never know what kind of client you're going to get. And some clients, they have built a whole brand around, animation, like cartoony things, something that grabs your attention. Whereas other brands built their whole brand around like clean motion graphics. But there are a lot of bigger companies that have the best of both worlds. So if you know both, you'll be better off for it. Let me get this thing going. I gotta find a link to this thing. I got people chiming in and they're saying it's not showing. Oh, you know what I need to do? I bet I just have to go to YouTube and grab it from the channel. Okay, so let's go ahead and share it. I'm going to copy that link, close that down, and this should be the one. All right, let's get back into it. Let's go ahead and actually look at the character that I'm describing. And I'm sorry, this is going to be a little clunky. This is actually just a test. This is me getting used to doing a live stream version of this course. I've done live streams in the past, but I want to get a feel for how this kind of like interactive course feel is going to be. I don't want to go into this blind and like show up day one in the course and like fumble around. So this is kind of just a little bit of a test to get my feet wet so that we can have a great experience in the course. And what I have to do now is share my screen. That's not it. Here it is. Share my screen. Entire screen. Here we go. All right. So this is Sam. Sam is the character that we will be animating. Sam is a very fun character to animate, by the way. Everything about him is just so much fun. And you really can't go wrong with how you animate him, which is really cool. So let me get this stream up, because whenever I share my screen, I can no longer see. I can't see what you guys are asking me. I can't see any of the comments. And for some reason, it's not letting me enter this thing. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining in. Sorry, this is going to take just a second to figure out. I got to get this up and running on my end so that I can see what's going on. Because my video is not even showing up. Yeah, it's not showing up. I don't know what's going on here. All right, I'm just going to talk a little bit about Sam because I can't see what you guys are saying. I wonder, oh, maybe I just have to, no, then it does that. I hate this. I hate this. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. I'm going to give some time for people to show up, maybe ask a question or two, and then I'll get into Sam. I'll get into that character. Maybe a little bit more about the course too. So this is a live course. So you're going to get to see how the sausage is made. You're going to get to see all the mistakes I make. There's really no cutting it out. You get to see all my flaws. That's fun. So the course is an 8-week course starting on Wednesday, October 1st. And we're really going to talk about, well, there's going to be 8 courses, and each course is going to revolve around a key component that, in my opinion, is crucial for character animation. And even outside of character animation, this will be good for motion graphics as well. So we're going to talk about things like pose to pose animation. We're going to talk about weight, timing. We're going to do walk cycles. We're going to talk about acting and emotion and arcs. All of these things are what make a really great animation. And it took me years to understand it. I had teachers, I had people that I watched, mentors that I learned from, telling me this stuff from day one, and just going over my head. Like, I was like, yeah, I get it, but I think I know better. And so I would animate horrible things, just because I didn't really understand what they were getting at. And so what I want to do is break this down so simply that there's no confusion. It's either do this or you're going to spend years learning the hard way, and then you'll finally get it. And what I don't want people to do is learn the hard way and then end up walking away from animation because they thought it was too hard, or I just didn't get it, or I was never good enough to be like the pros. You could be a pro. Like, it's not that hard. And so what I want to do is I want to give you the tools and the resources that I've learned the hard way, so you don't have to. But week 1 is going to be pose to pose. And the reason I'm doing pose to pose first is because this is probably the easiest way to animate. And everything that we learn subsequently is going to be revolving off of pose to pose animation. So if you can grasp that, then everything else will kind of fall in line. Hi guys, welcome everybody who's joined in and showed up. Man, we are 14 minutes in and I have done absolutely nothing but talk. I'm sorry. Well, you got any questions here? Put us on YouTube, the internet. I think your stuff was the most comprehensive on mold rig. Thank you. I appreciate that. You're new to Moho. Oh yeah, it's getting late over in Pakistan, huh? Well, thanks for joining in. It's early morning here, just waking up. So you're new to Moho. Yeah, Moho is an incredible course. It's an incredible program for character animation, for rigging, and even some motion graphics. I would say that if you want to continue motion graphics, stick with After Effects. It's a much better tool or better program. But you can certainly do motion graphics in Moho. So, all right, now that we're 15 minutes in, let's go ahead and start looking at our character that we're going to get to animate in the course. Here we go. All right, so back to Sam. So if you're not familiar with Moho, this is what it looks like. Okay, you got your stage here, or your composition, which goes here, and you can see the boundaries of it. You've got some tools over here on the left side, and those tools change as you move from frame 0 to frame 1. And that's really the most complex thing about this, is understanding a design frame versus your animation frames. So at frame 0, which is all the way over here, these frames right here, this is frame 0. And this is where you design everything. This is where you design your characters, you design your sets, and you rig your characters. Once you come outside of that to frame 1, which is the beginning of these frames right here, you can no longer design and you can no longer rig. There are few things you can adjust, but you really don't want to adjust them from this point on. So going back and forth is going to be the most challenging part for you. That's kind of what was most challenging for me, was understanding what keyframe I'm on and what they do. But now that we're here on frame 0, you can see we've got some animation going. It's a fun little, he's doing the robot. I've never really done the robot, so I was just kind of guessing, like, what does the robot look like? I don't even. But that's him. He's saying hi. He's doing this awkward, goofy welcome. And we can turn our character rig on right here at this point. And you'll see we have a series of bones. Now, I might need to clean this up a bit. I don't know about you, but whenever I make a character, or whenever I do anything in a program, it usually gets pretty cluttered and junky looking real fast, because I don't expect anybody to ever touch those files except for me. And I'm okay looking at a little mess. So I might have to come through here and clean things up for you guys a bit. But I'm just going to give you a little rundown of this character rig. So this is the main body bone. So this controls his whole body, the movement, the rotation, and the squash and stretch. Simple, right? That's so easy. So that's what I wanted to do, is just keep such a simple rig. This is basically Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc., except he has 2 eyes. Up top on his hat, we have this nice movement here. So that gives us our hat's kind of like rotation left to right. And then we have an up and down movement too. And this will give kind of that floppy feel. So if he's jumping up, the hat would probably come down. And if he's falling down, the hat would come up. Okay? And we can detach the hat from his head. If you do it in the wrong way, it will break. So be cautious of that. And then we have, let me go ahead and put this back to where he was. Then we have eye movement. So this is the main control for the eyes. And then we can individually move the eyes as we go. You can also scale the eyes from here if you need to, for whatever reason. Just going to keep that at 100. And that is the bulk of the facial controls. And then we also have some blinking capabilities. So you can blink, and then it's not the best because you can see these cross. So I don't know, maybe I'll try to clean that up or figure out a way to clean that up some more. But usually if I blink, even if the eyes are kind of like this, when he blinks, I'll close the eyes and also lower this so that it closes completely. But this is a good way to get like a happy expression. So the bottom of his eyelids scrunch up because he's smiling, or you can get more of like a, I don't know, mischievous look. But it depends on the eyebrows. So if you lower these and then curl them in, now he's kind of like, hey, how you doing? Huh? And then that moves us to the mouth. We have an open and close for the mouth, and this is our happy and sad. So if we go neutral, we can just open and close. If we go sad, then we can change the width. And corners is something that, I don't know, it's probably not necessary, but it can give like a rounded version to the mouth or a pointy version. And then we have the tilt. I love the tilt because it gives more character. Without the tilt, it's not a very fun character to animate. I don't know, something about that tilt. And this one is kind of wonky too. It's the tongue. So I'll have to figure that out too. I don't think it moves. Yeah, it doesn't move with the tilt. And it's got some weird keyframe here. So I'll fix that. So don't worry. Again, this is how the sausage is made. You are seeing all my flaws. And then finally, onto the body, we have this up and down movement and left to right. Okay? And it's all very simple. And like with all my rigs, if you are to bend the character, you have the option to move the elbows and the knees. All right. Now on to a couple cool things. Since I'm here at the feet, I'll show you that. So something cool with these feet is I used liquid shapes to achieve a pretty cool effect. So you can move the foot either, and you see it breaks there, but whoop. So you can lower the foot to give kind of that 3/4 forced perspective look. You can even change sides, so it can rotate to the opposite direction. So he could be standing in kind of this position like this. And you can go up or down with it. So it gives this really cool kind of foot movement. And then you have the rotation here. You can even rotate the toe or the tip of it. So yeah, just some really cool stuff going on there with the feet. And likewise with the hand. So I love this idea of having a character that can have multiple versions of a hand. So right here we have this kind of mitten or a glove looking kind of a hand. But if we separate the fingers, you see that they are separate. So I like this idea of being able to play around with the form of the hand and just keeping it so simple. And even if we change the direction of this hand, so like let's say if this hand was up and rotated this way, but we wanted the thumb to be on the other side, we can just move the thumb over here and then rotate these into a different position. So everything is really flexible. You just have to be cautious of the way that it is merging. All right. But for the most part, it's just fun. Fun, fun, fun. So those are the two really cool aspects of this rig. We have these kind of amorphous jelly-like fingers that can go into a mitten or an open hand. Same one on this side. There we go. And there we go. And then we have some switches here that can turn the arm either in front or behind the body. This is intuitive though, so if we rotate the body left to right, you can see the limbs switch from front to back. But if we had the arm over here, and let's say we wanted the hand to come in front of the body, because right now it's not doing that. We can come here to the switch and we can move it, and there we go. Now we have a hand and forearm that come in front, but that upper arm stays behind. But you could also turn that upper arm on as well. And the same thing goes for the legs. We have separation of the foot and lower leg from the upper leg. Now, is there anything else I want to talk about with this rig? There's not a lot more to talk about other than just have fun with it. It's such a simple rig, something that's so much fun to just play around with. All right, let me see. Is there anything here? Got a question about drawing in Moho. I don't know how to improve it. I'm animating with simple character, and also I'm not sure I'm animating professionally, but at least I got good result. Okay. But I can't make animation with the character that you're using. Let me see if I can clarify this question. So you want to know how to get better at drawing in Moho. And you just want to get better at it. Now, are you saying that Moho is holding you back, or do you feel like your skills as a designer are not quite good enough? I guess that would be the way that I question that. So yeah, just clarify it. Is Moho the problem, or is your skill level in character designing the problem? Or maybe that's not even the way to ask that question. I don't know. All right. Is there any scope to learning Moho? It's asking about jobs. The liquid shape works fine in rigging. Yeah, I like the liquid shape. Scope to learning Moho. It's really just getting in there, and you got to spend time with it. When I was learning Moho, the reason I started learning Moho is because I started a project in After Effects, and very quickly I learned that the scope of work and the things that I needed, After Effects was not going to be capable of doing it. I got pretty far in After Effects and then realized this project is going to take me 20 times longer to get it done in After Effects than it would be if I just switched programs. And I had no experience with Moho, but I kind of liked what other people were doing with it. So I said, you know what? I asked my client, I said, I need some time to figure out a new program, and they agreed. And I took about, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks to a month total to really dig into it. And all along I was doing work, but I was using that time to explore, and I was using it to learn new methods in Moho. So I would say the best way to actually learn Moho is just roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty. And it's going to take time, especially if you're coming from After Effects. So you feel like your skill isn't good enough for drawing. Well, I would say find some artists that you really like, artists that you admire, and just see what they like, break down how they design a character. Copy their work if you have to. You know, it's like repetition. That's the way you get good at something, is repetition. They say it takes like, what is it, 10,000 hours before you can master something. So if you don't have 10,000 hours completed, you're not going to be a master at it. You can get proficient, you can get good at something within 1,000 hours, but if you really want to understand and be truly good at what you're doing, it's just repetition over and over. And it's okay if it doesn't look good. I got to tell you, most of my drawings do not look good. Let me see if I can find something. When I start a drawing, most of it looks absolutely awful. I'm not talking like, oh yeah, it looks bad for a professional. No, it looks bad for like a child. Like my drawings are horrible. But you know what? You know what separates me from a child is, yeah, I can draw bad things, but what I do is I stick with it and I continue to um, flesh out the idea until I find a version of that bad drawing that I actually like. And right now, I can't find anything. Oh, this might be a good one. No, that's not a good one. All right, I'm not gonna waste your time looking for bad drawings, but that's how I get good at art. Is you find someone you like, try to copy their style, and just keep going. You know, draw a bad drawing, that's okay, but don't give up. If you give up after drawing a bad drawing, you'll never become a good artist. So just keep going until you find a version of that drawing that you actually like. Um, which lip sync method are you using for most optimized? So it and a, with lip sync, there's a few different ways that you can do it. A lot of people, you're welcome. A lot of people use something like a switch layer or just like built-in mouth shapes so they can cycle through the mouth shapes. That's really easy, and that's a great way to do it. But that's never been my preferred method. My preferred method has always been organic movements to the mouth. That might be a flaw. Maybe it's making my lip syncs take longer than they should, but for some reason, I just love the flexibility of a mouth, getting it into a shape that I've picked, and I can easily get to that at any point from any mouth shape that I have. So having full control over the width, the how big it gets, the shape that it's in. That's how I like to do it. And so what I do is when I have an audio or like a voiceover, I'll listen to it, and as it goes to that next like vowel or consonant, I mimic the sound with my mouth to get an idea of like ah, e, oh. And so as I'm talking and saying the words, I make that shape with my mouth. And a lot of old animators used to use a mirror, even for like facial animation. So they'd have a mirror on their desk and they'd come up with like, I kind of want my character either to look like this or maybe even the mouth shape. And they'd look in the mirror as they're drawing and be like, ah, ooh, ooh, ah. And that's a really great way to get an idea of what does your face look like when you're making these sounds. So that's kind of how I do it. And then for the motion graph, sometimes I do use the motion graph in Moho. Very rarely, though. The only times I use the motion graph in Moho are if I have animated something and it looks good, but then I adjust where the body is, and then now that hand is no longer in the right position for the body. So I'll go into the motion graph and just change the X and Y values of it to move that hand up. I honestly, Moho has done such a great job with like interpolating these keyframes, so you don't have to touch the motion graph hardly ever. The only other time I would touch the motion graph is if I'm doing a Bezier curve. So let's say I want something to come really slow and then slam into something. That's something I would use a Bezier curve, and you can change those curves pretty dramatically. And that's the other way. But honestly, I hardly ever touch the motion graph. All my keyframes are smooth. I just smooth it out, and Moho does the rest. I'm telling you, whatever they do is amazing. I love it. Vitruvian bones. Yes, Vitruvian bones is actually something I haven't really touched on. I try to make rigs that don't need it. I can honestly see the value in that. But whenever I create a rig, I either try to get that rig to encompass a wide range of different motions and movements and looks. But if you have a very specific need for a limb, I would say Vitruvian bones is going to be your key. There's a lot of great tutorials out there. I don't think that I could improve upon that because it's not really something I use in my workflow all that much. But yeah, it's a cool little tool. Um, so yeah, and this is great. This is really how I want the courses to kind of flow. I want them to be really organic. I want you guys to ask questions. I want to be working on the character. So for week one, like I said, as week one, we're doing pose to pose animation. So I'm going to come to this thing prepared with maybe a little animation that I plan on doing, and then I'm going to teach you how pose to pose is going to be the most beneficial way to animate by far. And then we're going to come up with something cool, and you'll have the character, I'll have the character, and we're going to work through it together. So that's kind of my mindset and my goal here. And again, like I said at the beginning, this is really it's kind of a test run. Okay, I wanted to get my feet wet. I wanted to see how you guys react here in the chat. Obviously, some of you that are in here right now won't have access to the course material. This is going to be a locked private stream. So you only get to join in if you have the link, which I'll provide through the Discord channel. And in order to get that link, you have to be signed up to the course. What's up, Dreams Animation? So if you're interested, you can ask me more questions about the course. If you're interested how to sign up or join, go to my website, Backwoods Animation /OK Animate. Yeah. Yeah. Having another, maybe, maybe what I'll do is I'll throw up one of these, or I'll put up, I'm not going to throw up. That'd be gross. I'll put up one of these live streams on YouTube just so people can get a feel of what the course is going to be like. But this is really going to be a part of OK Animate. And if you're not familiar with OK Animate, which I'm sure you are, I've hounded and beat that thing like a dead horse. So if you follow me and you don't know what OK Animate is, I'm sorry, but I talk about it a lot. So you should know. Anyway, was there a question? Let me see. Oh, particles, that's what it was. Yes, so there are physics and particle systems inside Moho, and you can play around with those. They're pretty cool. I would say they get you about like 80% of the way there. Again, if you're looking for a stylized version, something that's unique and interesting, Moho offers those tools. I would say After Effects has better tools for physics like that, or particles. I'm sorry, not physics, particles. But going on to, oh wait, you were talking about wind physics. Yes, going on to the physics of Moho. I love their physics. They have such an intuitive physics system that you can put on any bone. So if you have, let's say, a feather on a hat, you can rig it up so that as your character's walking, that bone, without any animation, bounces along with the hat, and that bone is going to control the feather. And you can put physics on almost anything. For a long time, I used to create these rigs where there was a separate controller for the wrist that controlled the movement of the arm. And so as I would animate the arm, the physics for the wrist would kick in. And so if I animated the arm like this, the wrist would go. And then also I had physics on the palm here. So as the wrist would come in and do this, the palm would do that. So it gave this really kind of like jiggly version to the animation, which in hindsight, I think it was overboard. Yeah, I went too far with it. But it was cool that I could do it. So they have a very great physics system. I love it. You can do a lot of things. You can change the squash and stretch of something as it moves. You can change the rotation of something so it wobbles. You can change the position of something. So if you have, let's say you have a necklace and you put all these points or all these bones on your necklace, as your character moves, those points are going to move with it. Okay, and you don't have to animate them. What else do we got? Is there any angle of the character that cannot pose in the current rig? Do you draw another one? Okay, that's a good question. So there's limitations to every rig. It's really hard to get a rig that can do everything. And the downfall of a lot of people, even myself included, is that you work really hard to make a rig where you think it can do everything, but unfortunately it can't. So you might find yourself putting your character into a pose that just doesn't look right. And if that happens, you might have to come up with a whole new rig just for that pose. So for instance, like a 3/4 back view, you can kind of get that, but it might not be perfect. So what you might want to do is create a separate rig. So you can create a first rig that goes, 180 to 180. And then you might want to create a second rig that goes back view 180 to 180. You'll just have more, you'll have more creativity and more availability to do more things if you have separate rigs. So yeah, it's hard to create a rig that can do everything. And actually, a lot of times I'll end up not putting my character into a pose just because the rig doesn't allow for it. So in my mind, I'll be like, man, it'd be really great if I could spin this character around and they flip and do that. And then I'll get into it and be like, okay, that looks horrible. Never mind, I can't do that. So then I come up with something different, um, which sucks. It's not the best way to animate when you're really limited, but it causes you have to be able to think outside the box and figure out a way to solve your problems. So how do you add textures like grain to a character without changing its original color? So you're talking about like an overlay on top of it. I think what I might do is, I mean, you can use brushes to achieve a lot of different effects. So you might be able to create a brush that does that. But if you have an overlaying texture, I would probably create a mask. So you would get that body shape that you need, use that as a mask for whatever texture you're going to use, and that should fix the problem you're talking about. Textures are challenging though. They're tricky because when your limbs attach to your body, there's usually some weird stuff that happens when you're blending textures like that. So I try to stay away from it. So all I can say is best of luck. But sometimes that's a stylistic choice. There's a lot of different character designs and rigs that have this texturing on them that just breaks, and that's okay. A show like Daniel Tiger or what's another one? Oh, Give a Mouse a Cookie. something that's very like storybook driven, if you watch those rigs, you can see the textures break really badly, but they don't care. They just do it that way. And that's fine. It really just depends on the style you're going for. What do we got? Can we use Moho and After Effects together, like animating character to bring to After Effects? Yes, I do that all the time. So I'll animate a character in Moho, and when I render it out, I render it with an alpha channel or just a transparent background. So I'll just animate my character, render it, and then import it into After Effects. And that works great. I love that process. You know, it seems or it sounds like it would be complicated and confusing, but it's really not. It's just get that video file done for the animation of the character and then bring it into After Effects, and you can do whatever you want with it. To be quite honest, I would say about 100% of the animations I do in Moho, once I render it in Moho, I always bring it into After Effects, because then I'm going to touch up coloring, I'm going to touch up lighting and some various effects. So it is almost exclusively a Moho to After Effects pipeline for me. So even though I'm in Moho, I still use After Effects a lot. But I don't do character animation in After Effects. That ship has sailed. I'm done with that. Yeah, if you want to learn a lot of things, follow a lot of people. I would say that I can get people only so far. I'm not an expert. I'm not an authority on this topic by any means, but I can get you, you know, some knowledge, but definitely learn from other people. Other perspectives and other way of doing things it's crucial in any field. So you should always have many, many teachers. Don't ever just rely on one person. But thank you for joining and thank you for listening. New full animation tutorial on your YouTube channel, please. Yes, I YouTube's interesting. I'm kind of trying to understand this whole YouTube and Instagram kind of world. It's a strange one. And I feel like years ago there was a time when it was beneficial for me. And not like obviously I want to help you guys. I want to be here for your journey as you're becoming animators. But there was a time when I could do a video or a post and it got visibility. You know, like people were able to see it. Now it just feels either oh, okay. Hold on. I'm getting a phone call. Hold on one second. Hello.
Sorry, you're not phone, right?
Yep.
Oh, okay, sorry, no mic.
What's up? No. Sorry about that. Yeah, there was a time when I could actually post things and people saw it. You know, what's interesting is sorry to rant. I don't want to feel like a victim here, but I went on Instagram the other day and I knew that Instagram was showing me like ads and people that I didn't follow were popping up in my feed. And I was just scrolling and I was like, you know what? I want to count and see out of 20 posts, how many people do I actually follow that I'm being shown? And so I scrolled through and it was like the very first one, someone I follow, then it went ad, then it went someone I don't follow. And it ended up being like 12 or 14 people I didn't follow out of 20. And I thought, this is so strange. Like, channels that I don't subscribe to are being shown to me. Now, when am I going to find time to find content from the people that I actually want to follow? It's like, I don't know. It's like I'm going to have to scroll like 1,000 scrolls to actually see everybody that I follow. And 60% of that's going to be stuff I don't even care to see. Um, Now, that sounds like such a petty little argument, but when you spend time, like such as myself, when you spend time creating something and you have a level of expectation on what that post is going to do, and Instagram is kind of burying your stuff for whatever reason, it makes you not want to really put content out anymore. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just like, what's the point? Like, it doesn't bring me joy to necessarily put things out there. I don't know. But yes, long story short, sorry for the rant. A tutorial. YouTube. You deserve it. Let's make it happen. All right, so on that note, if I was to do a tutorial on YouTube, what would you guys like to see? Character rigging? Animation? Hmm. All right, I'm only going to stay on for 9 more minutes. I'm going to do just a 1 hour feed, quick cut. So you have 9 minutes to ask a question, and I have 9 minutes to answer. And I'm going to make it quick. I know I ramble a lot. But if you don't have a question, again, I just want to reiterate that this is really in preparation for my my animation course using my character Sam. So it's going to be fun, and it's not pre-recorded. So honestly, I have no clue what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to come out of it. We're going to end up with 8 unique animations, and after each of these animations, they're going to be post ready. So you're going to do your animation. I'm going to do my animation. Hopefully they coincide. And this is going to be something that hopefully you can either put on your reel, you can do posts, use your social media accounts for. Yeah, that's what the goal is. And if you're having trouble and you're struggling with a certain aspect of that video, ask questions. We've got the Discord channel where you can come in and say, hey, here's my animation. What's wrong with it? And I'll be like, well, it looks great. Just fix this part or whatever it might be. And thank you. I'm glad the rigging course helped. Yeah, to be honest, I didn't expect the rigging course to have as much uh, involvement. Like, there's so many people that have taken it. It like blows my mind. I didn't expect that at all. And oh, the interactive animation. So that was done with a program called Rive. And Rive is a program that I have barely scratched the surface of. I thought this could be a cool way of getting some like different type of animations. But man, Rive is really impressive, especially as far as like file size for vector animation. Oh my gosh, like the file sizes are so small, I don't understand it. You can do almost exactly what you can do in After Effects in Rive, and there's no lag. There's no bog down on your machine because your file sizes are so tiny. Plus, you can make it interactive, so you can have your mouse cursor come around and your character will follow it. You can click on different things and your character will go and do those things. But yes, that alligator one, thank you for bringing it up. It was so challenging, but I'm glad I did it because it kind of showed me what was capable of the program. And it was really cool to see just what you can do in Rive. So go check that out too. And yeah, um, but yeah, I look forward to seeing some of you guys in the course on October 1st, and me getting to share some of the knowledge that I have in Moho with you guys. Um, there's a lot of great a lot of great stuff for each week that's planned. And I'm really excited to get into it and share it with you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. And I look forward to seeing you guys in that animation course. Starts October 1st, this Wednesday, from 9 to 11. And we'll be here just talking and animating and having a good time. If anything, just show up and hang out. You don't you don't even need to do anything. Just ask questions. We can talk about animation. I love talking animation, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts about animation too. Um, make one collaboration for all of us to make an animation scene for fun, and all practicing will be retrieved. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'll try to make a course for YouTube as well. I know I've got a lot of people, including yourselves, who are interested in Moho, and I have yet to put any courses out. Actually, I put a few little things out, like little tips and tricks, but I think a full course is worth doing. Anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, letting me talk your ear off. And this was just going to be a quick one, just to kind of test it out. I don't even know if I'm going to do it on YouTube. I might actually do it on Discord. I'll have to see if that's what I want. You're okay-ish. You're okay-ish in rigging, but your animation skills not really good. And I really hope to see more tutorials and courses from you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I just went blurry. Um, and I hope I can help you in your animation and your rigging as well. Once a few things click, animation is so easy, and you'll get there. I know it. Just stick with it. Anyway, thank you guys. Thanks for showing up, and I will talk to you guys later. End.